Hello everyone, I am Allie and welcome to my channel. This video is going to be the tarot forecast for the month of May 2018. Can you believe it's already May? That's crazy. So first before I get started with the forecast, I just want to give you some updates and some announcements. I'm so excited because I've launched my second Instagram challenge called the Geek Pride Tarot Challenge, hashtag Geek Pride Challenge. So you can look for that on Instagram. I'll post the link below. But May has always been a month of Geek Pride because there's so many sort of geeky special days, sort of informal holidays that show up in the month of May, including May the 4th, Star Wars Day, Geek Pride Day, Towel Day, the glorious 25th of May. These all take place in the month of May annually every year. And so in honor of that, and also because we've got a lot of geeks are getting super excited right now with con season started. Avengers is just in theaters as of this last weekend, and we have Solo, a Star Wars story, coming out on the Star Wars anniversary of May 25th as well. So lots of nerdy things happening this month. And so that's why I chose May for this Geek Pride Challenge, and I'm super excited. I've been getting a lot of questions already because the prompts were a bit vague. They're just clues because I couldn't fit it all into a little Instagram post. So I just used sort of catchphrases that were inspirations for each daily challenge. And so as we go along, I'll be explaining how to, like a guide for each of the prompts a day or two ahead of time so that you know in advance what you're supposed to do with your tarot cards in relation to the daily challenge. So days 1 and 2 are already posted. You can go check those out. And as I said, I will post the link below so you can participate. I'm encouraging tarot readers with pop culture decks to use their pop culture decks for this challenge, but it's totally up to you. If you don't own a pop culture deck, that's totally fine. Or if it doesn't feel right, don't use it. Do what feels right. That's the most important thing. And if you don't have a deck of cards, follow along because I think you're going to get a lot of wisdom and insight from this challenge. You're going to see how these modern myths, these modern stories from comic books, video games, fantasy, science fiction, and I did a special section just for Star Wars in honor of Star Wars Day and the new Solo movie that is coming out. So there's a whole section devoted just to Star Wars. So there's a lot of inspiration from these films, books, comics, games that are coming into play. So we're combining our tarot wisdom with our geek wisdom, and I'm super stoked about it. So go check that out. Now let's get on with the purpose of this video. It is the forecast for the month ahead, and on the theme of geeks and pop culture, I have acquired a few new pop culture tarot decks over the last month, and I was trying to decide which one I was going to use for the forecast this month, and I couldn't decide. So I've done something a little bit differently that I've never done before. Is I have used 3 different decks and my traditional 4th, the Good Tarot, is there for our monthly affirmation as well after the reading. And so I'm going to do a combo. So here is what we have coming up for the month of May. The first card I drew is from the Polka Box Tarot, which is a gorgeous, totally gorgeous deck. I don't know if you can see. It's got like the kind of gold leaf embossment kind of on every card. The backs are just absolutely gorgeous. It's super thick cardstock. The cards are very long, so like you can see they don't fit in my hand, and they're really thick. So as gorgeous as this deck is, it is impossible to shuffle. You kind of have to be very creative with your shuffling. There's just no way to do a riffle shuffle, or even, I don't know, over the hand is a little bit difficult as well. So enough about the deck. Let's talk about what the card is. So it's the Page of Cups. And so this card is, you know, coming up. This is our anchor card, our energy from the past that we're bringing forward. It's an asset, things we've already learned that we can take forward and make good use of for the month of May. So lessons we've already learned that will come in handy for this month. And the Page of Cups, so here representing the Page of Cups in this deck is Azurill. If I'm saying that correctly, feel free to correct me. Azurill. It's that blue Pokemon there with its big kind of bouncy ball tail. It is a baby Pokemon, so perfect for a page. So it reminds us that sort of there's an innocence. You can see this Azurill being generous. There's another little Pokemon in the cup there. So being very generous, very trusting, very forgiving. I feel like this card is all about seeing the good in people, having trust, sort of an innocence that we look for the good rather than assume the worst. The rest of the cards reveal there's a lot of sort of family relationship energy coming through this month. And so I think this card is saying it's a good reminder to just always try to remember that people are people. It may seem like they, you know, you might question their behavior or their motives, but try to always see the good, that people really they just want to help, or they want to be involved, or they want to be included. And their intentions, for the most part, are probably very innocent and good. They have good intentions, even though it doesn't always come across that way. So a reminder not to take things too personally this month, to go easy on others, and to try to see the good in others this month. So I think that's what we're bringing through for the month of May. Now, to elaborate on that, as I mentioned family, for our challenge this month, I'm using the Game of Thrones Tarot. And the card I pulled is the Ten of Cups, which came up as a obstacle or a challenge or a roadblock or something that is going to challenge us or be difficult to overcome or stand in our way, or, you know, sort of our biggest issue for the upcoming month. And we have the Ten of Cups, and in this card, it is the window of the bedroom of Eddard and Catelyn Stark. And there is a cup on the ledge for representing themselves and each member of their family. So family is going to pose a bit of an obstacle this month. So I feel like going back to our Azurill here, reminding us to just try to see the good in people, try to understand that people are doing their best, they have the best intentions, even though they, you know, might get in our way or seem invasive, or, you know, family. We all have our dysfunctions and our issues. So that's gonna come up as like a strong theme this month, I think. So the Ten of Cups, normally a very positive card, but because it's in the challenge position this month, family members may be a bit of a pain in our neck this month, but try to set boundaries, see the good, be forgiving. That's what we want to remember for the month of May. Now, lastly, what is our action? What can we do? What's something that we can actually, move forward with, take action on, implement in our life that's going to blend those things together and make our lives a little more easier and happy, a little less stressful. And I got another 10. I got the 10 of Pentacles, and this card is from the DC Justice League Tarot. And representing the 10 of Pentacles is the Blue Beetle. Now, this is Ted Kord, the second Blue Beetle, the successor of the original Blue Beetle, who was Dan Garrett, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly. And those two Blue Beetles were quite different from one another. The original Blue Beetle got his powers from like an alien parasite that attached itself to Dan and gave him his powers. Ted was like a sidekick or an assistant, anyway, worked for Dan Garrett, and when Dan Garrett, I believe he died, passed away, Court took on the role of Blue Beetle, but he was not aware of the alien that was kept secret from him. The truth was never revealed before the original Blue Beetle had passed away. So Ted Kord did his best to embody what he believed was the Blue Beetle. He never used the alien parasite. He had a ship which is in the shape of a beetle up here, and he's kind of dangling off this cable, like kind of like a trapeze, where he swings from the ship, or can come down while the ship's still in the air. Anyway, I kind of see this as not so much an actionable, but maybe a reminder or some validation that if family is being a little bit too pushy, or I don't know, they're trying to give you advice, whether it's solicited or unsolicited, they really do have your best interest at heart, and you don't have to do things like your predecessors, like your ancestors, like the family before you, whether it's siblings or parents or whoever. You don't have to do things the way they do things, or you don't have to meet their expectations because that's how they did it. You know, you do you. I think that's the important part. I think that's what we're taking from this Ten of Pentacles. It's interesting that they're both tens. I feel like that, again, emphasizes this strong kind of family theme that's coming up, that these are family relationships, close relationships, or dysfunctional relationships, but people who have been in your life for a very long time. Somebody, you know, there's a lot of history, I guess. That's what I want to say. There's history between you and either a single person or multiple people. And, you know, I feel like just because they're annoying you or bugging you doesn't mean that they don't have valuable things to say. They do, I feel like, have your best interests at heart. They're really trying to be helpful. So remember that. Listen to what they have to say. Just listen to them. And then decide for yourself if that's good for you or it's not good for you. But you do you. There's things that you can take from your predecessors, from people before you, from people who have more experience than you. But you can do it your own way too. Just like Ted Kord, just how he had his own interpretation of Blue Beetle and acted in the world under that persona. You can do the same thing. You can represent your family name, your legacy, whatever, in your way, and contribute, your own contribution, your own unique twist on something that has a long-standing legacy. So that's what I'm seeing for the month of May. Now let me read you the good tarot, because I kid you not, it just blows my mind every time I do these monthly forecasts, how kind of bang on the affirmations are for each month. So for the month of May, here is the affirmation card. It is the Six of Water. So cups and water are the same suit. So a lot of emotions, a lot of relationship things coming up. So I emphasize, I don't see a lot of romantic relationship, but familial relationships, or relationships that have a long history. So going back to childhood, could be a childhood friend that you've had forever that maybe you're butting heads this month, or there's some tension between you. Best thing you could do is just be understanding, forgiving, try to hear their side of things. That's all coming from this Page of Cups here, who's just being innocent and kind and just thinking the best of everyone. I think that's going to get you through a lot. But this one is more like setting the boundaries and standing your ground. Okay, let me go ahead. Here is the Six of Water from the Good Tarot. If I am being triggered to remember the past, I can enjoy the warm memories, but must recognize that they are ephemeral. Emotion can color my recall and distort my understanding of what is happening today. I acknowledge and heal old wounds. I can experience security today, enveloped in the arms of divine love. There is no need to return to the illusion of a golden era of yore, because I can begin co-creating a better reality right now. Authentic healing and joyfulness will be mine if I stop rekindling the emotions from the past. So, emotions from the past, feelings with a long history, these things are all going to be coming up this month. So now you have a heads up. You can prepare yourself. I feel like there's this combination too. The other thing I see in this reading with the two tens side by side and the page, you know, there's this hint that there's a new family dynamic. So maybe there's been a death in the family, maybe a birth, maybe a marriage. You know, the thing that wreaks the most havoc in families are births and deaths, or when you add a family member or you take away a family member. So that might not be the case for everybody, but it's something to keep in mind, because those kind of things change the dynamic. Everybody's roles have to shift. Everybody has to figure out who they are to everybody else, with or without new people or old people leaving. So it can be really hard, and it creates a lot of tension and a lot of havoc and just clouds of emotions until the dust starts to settle. And that is normal. That is completely normal. So if that is happening to you, just remember that it will pass. It is not forever. Just remember to breathe, set boundaries, take a step back when you need to. Think before you speak, so you're not adding or contributing to the genre, and that you're really listening and that you're hearing what the other side is trying to say or what they are feeling. I think that's really important, just to keep everybody grounded and reduce any kind of drama that might try to surface this month. So that is it. That is your forecast for May 2018. I hope you found that helpful and a good reminder. Again, please check out my tarot challenge on Instagram. I will post the link below. I'm so excited to do this Geek challenge, and I'm excited to be participating in FanCon in Prince George in May. So I'll be there for all 3 days doing my nerdy geek readings with these decks and more. The Pokemon, Game of Thrones, DC, Justice League. I've got a whole bunch of pop culture decks and pop culture spreads that I can mix and match and combine to give you a really cool, unique, insightful reading at FanCon. So super excited. I will see you there. Hopefully stop by my table and say hi, if nothing else. Until next time, guys, stay shiny and keep sparkly. Bye.